So here's a process question. So below is a question dealing with the rolling clock and how it may affect having to retake the a.r.e. for initial registration based on a hypothetical scenario. Let's assume candidate is able to pass all of the 7 under 4.0, 7 a.r.e. exams within a year of passing the first one, and then for some reason reasons that are beyond this person's control, it takes them 8 years to complete IDP. So it takes them 8 years to get all the sort of paperwork end of things kind of completed. And by the time that they get all that done and they're ready to do the initial registration, they realize that eight years have elapsed, and at that moment, would they need to retake the a.r.e.? So there's a couple of things to say about this. First of all, neither Mark nor I are experts on IDP, a.r.e. per each individual state, all of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of variation. You actually become licensed by the state, and so clearly that's more than 50, because there's also territories. That's more than 50 different, subtly different versions of how these things go. So you absolutely want to find out about it for your particular state before I would trust anything that I would say. The gist of what I'm going to tell you, though, here is the rolling clock is one issue, and then the timeline from when you finish your exams to when you finish, have everything else finished and actually get the initial registration, those are two separate numbers. You can actually get them to extend your rolling clock if you've finished everything, but you have to ask for it, and they have the ability to say no if they don't think your reasons are good enough. But if you have reasonable reasons, they will extend it. Same with the length of time from when you finish the exam to when you actually become licensed. Some places, I think it's as short as a year. Other places, I believe it's maybe 2 years. There might be a 3-year area. So it's actually kind of a big deal. You should absolutely know your local version of that. But it is actually two separate questions. There are a couple of other rolling clocks in there as well. So I would definitely kind of talk to your local folks. The best way to do it, the people who you really need to talk to are your local state licensing board. So if you're in Colorado, it's probably the Colorado Professional Regulation Board or something like that.
And guys, we have I'll share a link to this. We have a blog post that links to all of the state licensing boards, if I'm not mistaken. I'll share that with you. So whatever state you're in, you can click on that and you can find the right person to talk to. I'll share it in the GoToWebinar panel here.
And that is actually the actual place you should go. It's probably easier, frankly, to go just talk to your local AIA chapter. There's probably somebody there who is an expert on what happens in that local area. They're dying to help young architects get licensed. They will absolutely be very helpful in that process. Also, most universities have somebody who's sort of their IDP sort of go-to person. You can track those people down. So there's a lot of people out there who can help you answer the question. It's just that it's so similar across the board, but then there are these subtle differences, which is why we're being a little cagey about answering it, because we don't want to tell you one thing and have it be wrong. So talk to the folks at your local AIA, and then talk to the local state licensing board for professional architects. Often they're grouped together, so it'll say something like professional regulation. Sometimes it's just architects.